days now, and it's been terrific. The hospitality and accommodations and everything that we've had and facilities have been really good. Our players have had a great 3 days. Our practices have gone well. So we're looking forward to the middle of the week festivities and the functions that are set up for our team and our families, and practice for the next few days, and then looking forward to a great game with Missouri.
Okay, questions for Coach. And again, if you would, please give your name and your affiliation, and we'll get a microphone to you. Got a question on the outside right.
Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Hey, Mike, can you talk a little bit about Josh Henson? Obviously an Oklahoma State product, but just what you've seen out of his offense and just the fact that he's now an offensive coordinator. Did you sort of expect him to head down that path?
Yeah, Josh was a walk-on player at Oklahoma State years ago from Tuttle, and worked his way into becoming a starter, and always had a great mind for the game. And we spent years together in the offensive room when we worked for Les, and always thought that he had a great future in this profession. He had a really good mind for the game, and has done very well. And not surprised with the success that he's having. And I had a good talk with him and Sean the other night at the first function that we had. So it was good to see him, and I'm happy that he's doing very well at Missouri.
We got a question on the outside right, and then we'll go to the back and we'll come to the front.
John Klein, Tulsa World. Mike, SEC versus Big 12, does it mean anything to you, or is this just another good team you got to play? And
well, I think every game is important. The way that the system is set up in the future, I'm not sure it factors in as much. But I think for our team, we're excited about having an opportunity to play again. And this is a really good football team. As you know, they won a bunch of football games this year and have beaten really quality teams on the road. And so it's a good challenge for our team and a great way to end the season. We'd certainly like to play very well in the game.
Question on the outside right.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Scott Kane with the Cotton Bowl. Just can you just give us a quick rundown on practice today, how things went?
Practice was good. We're at Euless Trinity High School, and their facilities have been great for our team. And so we were out there about an hour 45 today, and went through special teams, had good offensive and defensive periods. And the attitude and tempo was really good. So we continue to have good practice. We've got great senior leadership with 28 of those guys, so it helps us during bowl practice.
Question on the front left.
Thanks. Christian Favalor, Dalio Collegian. Coach, how do you go about preparing for Missouri's defensive line, and do you see this as a chance to show off what you have offensively in the backfield?
They're very good up front. Their ends are excellent pass rushers, and they've got big guys inside that get good push on offensive linemen. And when we started to watch tape weeks ago, I was impressed with their ability to pressure quarterbacks in the SEC. So our offensive line is well aware of the challenge that we'll have in the game, and we hope that the plan that we have will benefit us offensively and help us move the football.
Another question on the front. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Of the teams you've played this season, do you think Missouri has one of the better chances to not let you establish the run early, and as you do before spreading it out through the air?
Well, I'm sure they have a plan for trying to slow our running game down. I think that most teams in college football feel like they need to stop the run with their opponent. We certainly feel like that we have to stop the run in order to be successful on defense. And we've come up with a plan just like they have. It's always a little interesting in a bowl game because you've had really a month to prepare. So hopefully the plan we have will help us run the football.
Got a question on the front.
Todd Palmer, Kansas City Star. I wanted to ask you kind of about one of the more intriguing matchups, at least I think it is, Green Beckham going up against Gilbert, two big guys. What do you make of that matchup, and what makes Gilbert, what's made him such a successful corner this year?
Well, I think you're right. It's going to be a great matchup. I think you're looking at two potential first-round draft picks. And so when you have that type of talent competing against each other, it'll always be a lot of fun. And with his size, he's very tall for a receiver, but Gilbert's also very tall for a corner. Both of them, I think, are, well, when you potentially are a first-round pick, it speaks for themselves. I mean, those guys are really good players. And Gilbert has made us proud this year. He didn't play well last year, and this year he's had a terrific season, had a great offseason, worked hard, has been a good leader. At one point late in the season, he got hurt and played through it, played with some pain, has come back. His attitude's been terrific. But his size and his range and his ability to run, he's very fast, is what makes him a good football player.
And then I also wanted to ask, you mentioned Josh Henson, but you've also got Jason Ray, who played at Missouri and is now with you guys. What has he brought to your staff?
Well, Jason is a very good young coach and brings a lot of enthusiasm and experience in the throwing game, playing at Missouri when they were throwing a lot of passes. There's some similarities with what we do in our passing game compared to what he did when he was playing at Missouri. And he's done an excellent job for us in recruiting. And as a young coach, it's going to move up in the ranks very quick.
Question on the right.
Mike, it was about a year ago this time that I think Josh Stewart started returning punts in practice for you guys more seriously, and then did it in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. He's added that to his repertoire, but his numbers are down this year as a receiver, but it seems like his value is maybe more this year. Can you just talk about the change in his role this season?
Like most players, he had the big year last year with over 100 catches, and so he draws a lot of attention now. There have been some receivers that have been able to go over 100 2 years in a row. Most of those players were on a team that was really, really, really good on offense, and so they're able to kind of spread the wealth. And we were slow to start the season, our first 3 or 4 or 5 games on offense, and so that affected his numbers from a statistic standpoint. But he's still dangerous when he's on the field, whether he catches it or we pitch it to him and he runs the football, and certainly in the return game. I can't speak for other teams, but I know that when we compete against teams that have a returner with the ability that Josh does and some other guys in our league, you have to be aware of when they're on the field at all times, and I think that's really what he brings to the table.
Question in the middle, about halfway back.
Tim Aarons with the Daily Collegian. Coach, how big of a game is this for you with recruiting? Obviously, you do a lot in Texas here, but Gary Pinkel said that Missouri does a lot of recruiting in Texas. Is this kind of a showdown for both teams and does a lot for showcasing the talent to recruits coming out of Texas?
I think anytime you play, recruiting is important. We're on television just about every week now, but the majority of the work for our team, we have 77 players, give or take a few, that are from the state of Texas. So for us, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas is very important to us. And the Cotton Bowl is a great location for Oklahoma State University to play because of the accommodations and the ease for our fans to get here, and then also recruiting, as you had mentioned. So everybody will see it. We've got a great network with Fox showing the game and at a great time, so it's very important for recruiting.
Question on the outside right.
John Klein, Tulsa World. Mike, Clint Chelf last year and then again this year seemed to kind of rescue you guys like at midseason. Can you just talk about the fact that he kind of hung around and has played such a significant part of not only this season but last season too?
He's gotten better each year as the season's progressed, and has played good football for us. And you look back at what he's been able to accomplish, and he quarterbacked a team that's already won 10 football games. And you go back in the years in the history of Oklahoma State football, and there aren't very many guys that can say that they've quarterbacked a team at Oklahoma State that's won 10 football games in a season. And so it'll be interesting that when he finishes after this game, he'll leave a little bit different legacy than what people would have expected several years ago. But we're certainly very proud of what he's accomplished, and we're glad that he's on our team.
Question on the front right.
Hey, Mike, Dave Matter with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Back to Henson, I know when he was promoted this offseason, he talked about some of the wrinkles he wanted to put in Missouri's offense, and he actually mentioned some stuff that you do, particularly with running the balls but out of the spread formations. Do you see some similarities in what Missouri tries to do as far as running the ball, the things that kind of the staple of what you do?
It's interesting. Excuse me, years ago, our offensive staff and their offensive staff studied together because they were not in the Big 12 anymore. We always had respect for Missouri's teams because we feel like that they maximize their talent and the players that they have, and they're very successful. And so we went and studied up there. I think it was 3 years ago. And Josh and I, as I mentioned earlier, spent a lot of time together in offensive staff rooms when Les was our head coach, Les Miles, and also Les was involved with our offense. And we had a lot of discussions of what he and I thought would be productive someday in college football that would go on deaf ears with Les because it didn't involve 2 tight ends and a fullback. And we joke about that now, and I say that very respectfully because I think everybody knows how I feel about Coach Miles. I think he's a terrific coach, very intelligent offensive mind. But what you're saying is true. There's some similarities in the offenses when you get down to the basic principles of what we're trying to accomplish and what it looks like they're trying to accomplish running the football.
Anything further for Coach? On the right.
Mike, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this. With job openings out there, have you been contacted by anybody or any representatives contacted you about any job openings out there, coaching-wise?
No, nobody's contacted me.
Got a question in the far left-hand corner.
Chris Evans, Triple Play, Guthrie Radio. Coach, Kai Staley's seemed like he's had a short career and he's had a long career, but he's been part of a senior group that has been playing perhaps the best football at Oklahoma State football with the BCS Bowl and the BCS Bowl win. Just talk about Kai in the senior group.
Well, these 28 guys have accomplished a lot, and their leadership, the way they've handled themselves, and the character, and what they're passing on to the younger group is very special. And after last year's group and even the team from 2011, I wasn't sure that I could ever continue to say that, but this group has been terrific, and they mean a lot to Oklahoma State football, and they mean a lot to our coaching staff. And I couldn't be any more proud of the work ethic and what they stand for. They play the game with excitement. They play the game with a smile on their face. They're humble, and they're unselfish. And I think that goes a long way in our sport today. And we should all, people that really love the game of football, should be proud of the way they handle themselves.
We got time for one final question for Coach. All right, Coach,
Good.
we're going to let you go.
All right,
We'll see you
thank you.
Thursday morning at the head coaches conference.